Greetings, everyone. It is Shannon. Normally, I would be welcoming you to the Adult Learner Lounge, but today it is Sunday morning, as a matter of fact. It's an overcast day, some flurries, kind of chilly out, right? Um, and it being Sunday morning, the lounge is closed, right? The lounge is closed. I'm not a churchgoer. I'm a believer, which means I am a bona fide heathen, right? And usually what I do on Sunday mornings is not be at the lounge, but usually I am somewhere sipping on something like hot chocolate, which I have here, having like deep Jack Handy-esque thoughts. If you don't know who Jack Handy is, look him up. But basically, I've taken like the locks off of my brain because I am a micromanager of my brain and my thoughts, unfortunately. And on Sunday mornings, that's not the case. I'm like, okay, right? Do whatever it is that you were intended and designed to do. So I let my brain just kind of like freestyle. It's like a recording artist, a rap artist who, you know, is being handled, but maybe it's a cipher somewhere and he's just like taking it back to before he was a star or before she was a star, and or they were stars, and they're like freestyling at a cipher, crushing it, right? Spitting mad bars. That's what my brain usually does on Sunday mornings, right? And I'm just someone in the audience like, yeah, right? 'Cause it's good. I'm enjoying it. So my brain is spitting mad bars, and I'm here for it, right? I do my best thinking on Sunday mornings, right? I'm an early riser, so the moment that I open my eyes, like it's on. It's quiet in the house on Sunday mornings, that kind of thing, so I can like, pretty much, just think uninterrupted is the point, right? So today, when I was having those thoughts, I'm up now a little early, running around. I had to take my son to a rehearsal. That was, first thing this morning. But I am out running some errands and I'm about to go home. But I wanted to share with you what was on my mind today, right? Now, you may not believe this, but this is just my thoughts, my opinions, right? So I have to preface with that, and I want you to be clear, right? That this is coming from, my unmanaged brain, right? Which is very powerful, more powerful than my managed brain. I tell you that much, right? Because, right, I think our as humans, right, our brains were designed to do many things. Who needs generative AI when you got a big brain in your head, right? Truly. But at this point, like I said, like I sometimes it gives me clarity. It gives me answers. Let me rephrase that. It always gives me clarity. It always gives me answers. Sometimes, and this happens more frequently than I care to admit, but I will admit it, I don't like the answers, right? I don't like what's been clarified. I don't like the clarity where I'm like, oh. Because it usually means that I am now will be forced to do something, take some action that I didn't want to take, relinquish something or let go of something that I don't want to let go of, right? It's basically just like telling me, like, that's wrong, do it this way, or that's not right, you should do this. And somewhere inside, I know that, right? But I'm like, shit, right? Like the most logical Spockian conclusion is like, bitch, you fucking up. Do this and do it better, the next time. Or get it right. Here's how or here's why. And I know that, right? So, like, okay. So I say this because I had a thought today. Usually, like I said, when I have deep thoughts and introspection, and like I said, my shoulders are dropped, my brows are not furrowed, right? They're down, the thoughts I have are about me, it's about me and they're inward, right? Me and my world, me and my family, my friends, my people I care about, the things that are important to me, which is fine, right? But then, as I have myself expanded my horizons, right? I had to also take into account that there are other things to think about, right? So this is me basically looking outward or thinking outward, right, with my thoughts. And this morning I thought about you. Okay, so I'm going to explain what that was and what that looked like and why this is important to me, important enough for me to kind of interrupt our regularly scheduled program. I was supposed to post a video today about the 7 reasons why adults go to career, technical, trade, vocational school, right? Which I, sorry, my lips is like cracked right there. I do have that video, and I will post it next week. That video is content, all right? It's content, right? This video is not content. This video is basically me freestyling in my own cipher because I had a thought that I want to share with you. So this is us conversing, basically, okay? But anyway, so after I was like, I felt like I had, kind of like went through everything, like I said, thinking about me and my shit, basically. Then the thought popped into my head, like, well, you know what? You got a video that you need to post today, because I'm trying to make sure that I post religiously every weekend, right? Every Sunday, right? I want to start the week off with a new video, right? And so I'm like, okay. Then when I started thinking about it, I don't have that many videos posted, right? I have a lot of videos that I've recorded. I have a lot of things that I've shot that you will get eventually. So I've been like trying my best to record something every day, not necessarily just to post it, but just to kind of help me be more comfortable in front of a camera. And it's working. It is. Whenever we try, right, we sometimes can shock the shit out of ourselves because we, can do better at things or learn things, right? That trying is powerful shit, right? So even though, like I said, I'm feeling very awkward, I'm feeling very uncomfortable, still, I can tell things are improving because I'm trying, right? And I'm going to keep trying because I see now that I am on a path, to be, not greatness, but goodness, right? Like, okay, it'll be good, right? I might strive for greatness, but I need some time just to kind of like, work through things. But that's another story. Anyway, so I was thinking about you. And I hope you're doing okay, by the way. I'm just talking to talk. I didn't ask how you were doing. I'm so sorry. But how are you? I hope all of you that see this are doing well. I hope things are going well for you, right? They're going okay for me, right? It's about as best as I can expect under my circumstances, because I do have circumstances, right? But today on this Sunday, like I said, I'm feeling pretty okay. I like these overcast days, right? The sun is kind of peeking out here and there. It's flurries everywhere. This is the day that I should have stayed indoors, but I had to go out. But I don't mind, right? Okay. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. Consider. Okay. But anyway, so what was it about you? Like, what thought popped into my head where I'm just like, oh yeah. So here's what happened. Again, I was thinking about like posting that video, and then I was thinking about the videos that I posted. I don't know about everybody, but I do that, right? I will go back and like replay and rehash some shit to see if there was anything I could have done better, said differently, whatever. And so, since I don't have that many videos published, right, here in the channel, it's not difficult for me to go back and be like, So I did that. I logged into the computer. I went into YouTube Studio. I went back and I looked to see, at the videos that I posted. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking and instantly I'm like, oh man, I should have said this. Or, oh man, why didn't I include, say something about this or that, So, it's hindsight, right? So I'm doing this. And then something popped into my head, right? Because my brain is freestyling at the cipher, right? And it's like, the thought I had was like, you know what? You making some really like bold claims and bold assumptions about your future / potential audience, right? Have you, really addressed this? Now that thought popped in my head out of nowhere, right? Like I said, I was looking at the videos. That was the first thing that came to my head. Like, oh, And I've spoken about assumptions in the last video that I did, which was about Malcolm Knowles, not Matthew. I keep wanting to say Matthew Knowles. That's Beyonce's dad. Malcolm Knowles, who is a respected, was a respected educator and theorist. He gave us the adult learning theory. So I talked about the importance of assumptions, right? And so when I thought that today, like the thought popped into my head, like I'm making assumptions about you. I'm making assumptions about myself even, that I'm not really explaining, this or sharing this with you. That really kind of gave me pause. And I'm like, that's true. I am making these assumptions. I am making some bold claims. And I'm not really explaining myself. Now, there are people out there who don't need everything to be explained to them or for them, right? It's like, no, I'll figure it out. Or maybe they don't even want to figure it out. It's just like, no, I trust, God. I trust the situation. Whatever the case. And I understand all of that. I do. But I am someone who, it's just me. I firmly believe that the more information I can provide to someone, the better opportunity they have to make the most informed choice or decision, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to start by saying, me and YouTube is not where this is not the ends meeting, right? YouTube is the beginning. This is a beginning, not an ending, right? YouTube is a component of my business, but it is not my business. I know there are people on here who YouTube is the business. I'm not one of them, right? There are other things that constitute the business. YouTube is just one of the tools that I'm using to grow the business. I say that because everything that I'm doing is not just content, right? And everything that I'm doing is not just designed for likes and subscribers. It sure as hell isn't, right? I've watched enough YouTube right now to see, what's clickbait, or I've seen enough YouTube videos and content creators and YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, to see, some of the tricks and the gimmicks. I'm not mad at them. It's like, do whatever you need to do to achieve your goal or result. But my ultimate goal and result is a better you, right? My ultimate goal and result is an improved you. Why? Because to help you be better, do better, think better, whatever better, ultimately helps us all. And that is my diabolical plan and goal in a nutshell. It's not just about getting a check from YouTube. Now let me be clear, all right? I'm keeping it not just a buck, but $100, 1,000, right? A grip. Yes, right? I know that one of the byproducts of these efforts on YouTube, whether you're trying to be a content creator or not, is that, you can make money off YouTube and so forth and so on. But when I started this, while I was planning this, while I was really thinking this through, nowhere in my master plan, my diabolical plan was there the goal of making money at your expense. So that shit's not going to happen, right? And so if money is made off of the YouTube component of my business, posting videos and likes and subscribes and monetization, all that other shit, it'll be a very happy coincidence to me, but it's not the goal, right? The goal is to be able to reach you where you are, help you, because ultimately what will be, to me, greater and having the greater impact is a better you. Because I firmly believe that, even though I said this before, I will say it multiple times, the children are indeed our future, but we are not going anywhere, right? We are the past. We are the present. We are also the flipping future, right? So imagine what we, as adults can do, again, if we have the things that we need, whether we are aware of it or not, to make better choices, better decisions, more informed decisions, right? To share what we know with others, like I'm doing here with this, right? We have the capacity to improve many things, many, many things, right? Human existence as a whole could be upgraded and vastly improved, upon, because adults have these powerful tools to do the things that need to be done, to make shit happen, figure out problems, solve problems, to improve lives, whatever, right? I believe that. So YouTube is helping me realize that goal, right? I'm not here to leverage you, right? Just for some checks from YouTube. I'm not. Okay. I'm not here to use you just for likes and subscribes. I'm not, right? So that assumption that I'm making, kind of plays into that, because me again saying, "Hey, I know you can do this." That's not clickbait, right? It's not. It's not me attempting to garner more likes and subscriptions, right? No, right? I'm not looking for to do or say whatever just for membership. I'm not looking at this for. Sometimes the words are not coming to me fast enough, but what am I thinking? The word I'm looking for is it's right. Like my efforts here are genuine and authentic. Nothing is superficial, right? And no, like I'm not trying to present this veneer of caring. I care, right? I'm not trying to present this veneer of understanding. I understand, right? I can help, right? Not like I in theory, or the veneer of helping. It's like, no, I really can. And so when I say to you, I know you can do this, right? That's not, those aren't empty words. I know you can do this. I believe that you can. I have like all of the science and the proof that I need, right? The data, right? The research, everything is on my side to prove my point that, you really can do this, right? You can. Often what stops an adult from realizing that learning goal is the adult themselves, right? Um, and when I say the adult themselves, specifically, it's antiquated, outdated notions, right? It's things like having faith and trust in oneself, right? Things like honesty, right? Like not being brutally honest with oneself, right? Um, those are some of the things that really present like not just roadblocks, like a whole ass wall, right? That is like this impenetrable wall that you cannot get through, around, over, or under. And we do that to ourselves. We don't mean to. I don't think that rarely do we mean to, but we do, right? What that looks like in real life is, like having these, like I said, thoughts and notions about who gets to go to college and what going to college entails, when either you've A, never did it, or B, did it so long ago, right, that you're not understanding that things change. You change, right? Often when I work with adult learners in the past, one of the first things that I can do, one of the not easiest things, one of the most readily available things to me in my arsenal of like, how can I help you, is disabusing adult learners of the notions that they've been holding on to for years about college, about university, right? Like, well, I thought you had to, get straight A's to go to college. Like, what? Right? But people believe that, right? That they have to get these great grades to go to college, and if they don't have these great grades, that they won't learn, and therefore they won't be successful in college. And I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. You can get okay grades, still learn, and still go to college successfully. I know this for a fact, right? Or they believe that they have to be able to devote all of their time to learning. And I'm like, that's impossible, right? As a busy adult with a busy adult life, you don't have all of the time to devote. Ideally you do, but ideally you would, but if you don't, that's fine, right? You can go part-time. You can adjust your schedule accordingly, be more mindful of how you choose classes, whatever the case, right? Um, when they don't have the courage, they're not being honest with themselves. And I tell them that, like, it's courageous to be honest, right? It's courageous to do things even when you are afraid. That's courage, right? Like, no one said that you have no fear, or doubt. You can have fear and doubt, but do it anyway. Do it anyway. All right. That's bravery. That's courage. Being very honest with yourselves, right? I would love to go back to school, but I probably can only devote like X amount of time per week. And, if I can't go full time, then I'm just not going to go. Then we should really have a conversation about you going part time, because you don't have to always go part time, right? You're not locked into that, right? So if you start off part time, there may be semesters where you can add classes and go full time. You know your schedule better than anybody. So when I have these types of conversations with adults, and help them understand, like, we can make this happen. I've even had to have conversations with adults where it's like, well, I have a learning disability, right? And what can have you talk to disability services? We have a whole department designed for that. Let's go talk to them now, right? Or let me call over there and make an appointment for you or something, because often that's what's needed in the adult learners. That's what's needed for their journey, right? For them to be successful, is that they really just need the right support, the right information, right? And once they understand, like, and a better perspective, I think, especially if they're holding on to perspectives that they've had 20 years before. People change. They've changed. We've changed, right? The world has changed. Things are different. Let's look at the issue, with fresh eyes and with fresh information, because I'm sure that once we do that, we probably can figure some stuff out. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a real life thing. It happens just that way, right? And as such, it's like, so when I say I know you can do it, that's not me being glib, right? That's not me being cheeky. It's not me being like, cutesy and being slick and sly. None of that shit, right? I know that you can do it, right? Another reason why I know we can do it, because the proof is on my side, is that we're lifelong learners, right? We never stop. So you're watching me on the biggest, like one of the biggest learning platforms or tools for learning that probably has ever existed. YouTube, right? How many of you have went and learned some shit on YouTube that you actually were able to apply in real life? That's the thing. There's so much to know and learn theoretically, right? A theory is just that. Like, it's a hypothetical almost. Like, it could be this. Okay. Every video that you watch on YouTube, when you're watching that video and learning something, you're learning it in a theoretical construct, right? In theory, what you've seen can happen. Even though you're watching it, it's like, okay, but it still could be theoretical. But then you take what you've seen, what you've learned, and then you apply it in your life, and then you do it. I'm guilty of that too. And not, let me rephrase that. Not guilty. I've had the honor and pleasure of doing that as well, right? Because it's very pleasurable to me, right? It's very satisfying and gratifying to be able to watch something on YouTube and say, I need to know about such and such. Watch some shit on YouTube and then turn around and do the exact same thing that you just saw on YouTube, right? To apply that in real life. I think most of us have done that at this point, right? And what that also implies, or what that confirms, right, is that we as human beings, we don't ever stop learning. We are lifelong learners. That shit never ever stops. It stops. If it stops, it's because either A, you just refuse to do it, or B, you're dead. And this is me. I have a very sneaky suspicion that even if we're dead, we will probably be learning things. Like whatever essence of us is retained. I believe that, right? Spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? Energy, entity, whatever the fuck it is. Wherever we end up, we're probably going to still be learning some shit even there, right? I don't think that learning thing ever goes away. That's why, to me, it's one of our superpowers, right? We have a handful of superpowers that we just don't really, to me, tap into enough. But learning is one of the chief ones because, baby, right? Like we are forces to be reckoned with when we know things, right? Not like know things theoretically, but when we can say no, right? I know that I'm telling you this, right? Like me doing this now. I'm telling you that you can do it, theoretical, right? But if we work together and you do it and you apply what I'm telling you to your situation, to your circumstances, and it's successful in the way that you want it to be successful, then it's just like, okay, right? But there are many people who have done that, right? And not just for YouTube, but I'm just giving YouTube as an example. So the fact that A, we are lifelong learners, that B, like I said, like just some tweaks to, our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions, our personalities, right? Those two things can bring about the desired result. Often they do, right? And I know this. I've seen it happen. So I've been able to take all the theories that I've learned being educated, apply them, right, to my career, apply them in my everyday interactions with adult learners, and yield results that we both want. I want them to be successful. They want themselves to be successful. We both want the same thing. We work together, are on the same page. Ultimately, they are, right? I'll give you a story, right? I like to explain things with stories. Not that I'm a great storyteller, I'm not. But I feel like the story is again, applying this, right? It's an example of the application of theories, right? And therefore, it definitely, to me, is more powerful, right? So, again, I've worked with hundreds upon hundreds of adult learners over the years. That's not an exaggeration. That's a fact, right? And a pleasurable experience, right? Like I said, that's the one thing about me working in higher ed that will never, ever die. The one thing that I will keep, because I'm trying to leave the rest of it behind. But working with you directly, oh no, I have to find a way to do that. Hence, here we are, right? But anyway, several years ago, I was working with, I had a class, and I was working with a class of seniors who were about to graduate, right? And one of those students, because it's not uncommon, like I said, we're busy adults. Life happens to us. It hits us fast. We have to adapt. Another reason why I know you could do this, because we understand, like we understand how, our livelihoods are important. People are dependent on us, right? So forth and so on. And this one student reached out to me towards the middle of the semester, and they were having some health issues. I'm very lenient. Well, I won't even call it lenient. Let's say I'm flexible. It's not lenient. It's more like flexibility. I'm very flexible when it comes to working with my students, because I, as a former adult learner, remember how challenging it can be, right, when busy life rears its head, right? And it's like, damn, now you got to try to maneuver and finagle some shit just to be able to get something done. So if you're going back to school, and it doesn't matter what type of school you're going to, right? Like this can happen in any environment, right? Trade, college, right? Vocational, career technical, university, doesn't matter, right? But when it happens, right, you have to figure something out. So the student did what I asked the students to do. Like if anything happens, I said this at the beginning of every semester, every class. If some shit happens, I don't have to know the details, but you better let me know. We can figure it out, right? I can use all the power and the tools I have at my disposal to help you. Now, if you wait until after the fact, then it limits what I can do, and that's a fact. That's not just for me. That happens for a lot of instructors, professors, whomever, right? So the student did exactly what I asked them to do. They reached out, and it's like, you know what? I'm having these health issues. I'm getting ready to go to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. I will keep you posted. And it's like, okay. I didn't hear from that student. And then like about a week or so in, I'm like, hey, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you. Still didn't hear. And then when I finally did hear from the student, the health crises went from bad to like horrifically worse, right? And I'm like, oh wow. So as we were like rounding to the close of the semester, and then remember, this is a class full of seniors, so this is it. They're about to graduate. A student was not in a position physically to do much, right? So we're racking our heads and we're thinking, and it's just like, I know what to do, right? I know what to do. So I gave the student an extension. I gave the student incomplete, right? And incomplete is like a placeholder grade. And here's where it gets tricky with the incomplete. Often an incomplete has a deadline, right? If you ever went to school and got an incomplete, you know it has a deadline, right? The incomplete basically is letting the university and the registrar's office, who keeps the records of these things in particular, know that this student and this professor or instructor has agreed upon have agreed upon to more time or an extension, right, for the student to complete the work and then submit the work, because you have to kind of put like a deadline, like what is the last day that the student can submit. And because of the semester and everything, right, the way that typically a semester breaks down, the time in between semesters changes, right? Like it's not consistent, it's not the same, right? Meaning that the breakdown of semesters is not an equal amount of weeks. Fall semester going into spring usually has more time in between than a spring semester going into fall, and a spring semester going into summer, and definitely a summer going into fall, right? But we'll talk about that in an upcoming video, I promise. But long story short, because that student reached out to me and this was them finishing up in the fall, we had more time to work with, right? So the student had a really like long, difficult recovery. And it's just like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't want you to even be thinking about school. Like, you just need to get better, right? So we were able to kind of like, I hate to say it for lack of a better word, but manipulate, right, the amount of time that was available to us in the, what they call it, the time between semesters, depending on how much time it is, can be called an intersession, right? So it's the time between these two sessions, intersession. So we were able to take advantage of that time, the intersession, and pretty much all of the spring semester in order to allow that student the time to recover and then get the work done and finish. And that's exactly what we did, right? That student was able to get the work in the spring when they were doing much better. That student was able to get the work done in the spring when they were feeling much better, right? And they were already like a really strong student, right? Like they were doing great until these things happened. But they turned the work in, I graded the work and submitted the final grade, and that's it. They were waiting on, and it wasn't just my class. Like once we came up with an idea to how to help that student in my class, my suggestion to the student was like, when you talk to your other instructor, because they had like 2 or 3 classes they were finishing up, I'm like, let them know what's happening with me over here, with me and you in your capstone class, right? The capstone class, I think I mentioned this before, but we'll talk about that in the upcoming video too. But a capstone class is one of those required courses. It's like the appraisal course, right? You have to take that class and pass in order to graduate, right? It's a like in the hierarchy of classes that are important. A capstone course in the program is like the number one thing. You have to make sure you don't fail, because you can pass everything else, not pass the capstone, and you don't graduate. That's it, right? So yeah, so like my class was carrying the most weight, right? And basically, like I said, the plan that we had for them when they shared that with the other professors or the other instructors, it was like, okay, that works. So we were all on the same page, and like I said, that student was able to get the work done before the spring semester was over, and that was it. Final grades went in for that student. They were able to finish very strong despite all of their health challenges and graduate, right? I got a nice email from the student thanking me profusely for all of my help, my support, and that right there, everyone, that's, to me, like I just mentioned before, like money's great. It is, right? I need it, and it's wonderful, and it gives us options and choices. I'm not knocking that. But that email is currency to me, right? That's what I live off of, right? That's what makes me happy to be alive, happy to do what I do, right? To know that I was able to make an impact in that student's life, right? So yeah, so the bottom line is that, I'm not, to me, making a foolhardy assumption. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's anything, right? I so believe in you for these reasons. I believe in us as humans for these reasons. I believe that you can do this if this is what you want to do for these reasons. It will require something of you, right? I know a little bit about what some of those core requirements are, right? But if you're willing to do it, and I know I'm more than happy and willing to help, then I know by default that you will be successful. So not clickbait, okay? Not clickbait, not content. I'm not trying to bait you with anything. This is, if you met me on the street, I would have the same energy and the same conversation for you, right? I would, because this is what I believe to be. This is what I know to be true. So I wanted to share that with you before we even go further, right? I'm making an assumption about you that maybe you haven't made about yourself, but I believe in it. So I'm not wavering, I'm not faltering, I'm not changing that assumption or that perspective. It's like, I know what the hell I'm talking about, right? I do, right? I'm confident. I'm not cocky, I'm confident. It's a difference, right? So I want you to know that, right? I have the utmost respect for you, right? Your challenges, your rewards, all of that. Nothing but the most respect, completely and totally, right? Even if we don't agree on fundamental things, right? I still have respect for you because I'm like, okay, right? I could probably understand where you're coming from, even though I don't agree, right? So even there, it's like, okay, well, we got that much, right? Let's start there because I just believe that, right? I've done it so many times. Like I said, we can build on things, right? If we have a good foundation, and like I said, as human beings, as lifelong learners, right? As adults who are required to, change it up on a dime all the fucking time, right? To not just subside or exist, but to thrive when we can. Like that's the capacity that we have as adults. So I know that once we apply it to something like learning, right? School, whatever it is, like, no, you could be successful. Of course you can. Why would you not? So just know that I got you back. Like I said, I firmly believe, right? And that's it. That's it. I wanted to post that video today because that is my truth and my light. Today is Sunday, like I said. And yeah, that's like what my brain told me today. Talk to the people. Talk to them and let them know that you are most sincere. You're not on some bullshit. I am most sincere. And I am not on bullshit. All right? So I hope the rest of your week goes well. I will be posting the 7 reasons adults return to career, technical, vocational trade. I would probably always call it that. I like to give things nicknames, people, things, right? Concepts, ideas, right? So I'm capturing everything because, like I said, no matter what you refer to it as, right, it's pretty much the same thing. So I will always call it career, technical, vocational, trade, vocational, career, technical. I'll change it up, but it'll always be referred to that as we move forward, right? So again, doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you. I watched a video a few weeks back about a gentleman who learned Spanish on Duolingo. He said it took him 2 years, but he did Duolingo for 2 years, the free, not the paid version. He did it free for 2 years, and he is a conversational with his Spanish. I'm like, awesome, right? So yeah, I say that because even if that's all you want to do, I just want to learn. I want to travel and learn another language. Okay, right? I'm here to help you do that too. Okay, so just know I am legit. All right, I am the real deal. But then so are you, right? And when we get badass motherfuckers like us together, right? Great shit will happen. That's it. That's all I know. That's it. That's it. That's all. Okay. So thank you if you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. I think that at some point the little like and the subscribe. One of the people who is actually mentoring me here on YouTube is Kevin Colby. Colby, I think that's how he's pronounced his last name. And his whole channel and everything is how to help people 40 and older become YouTube content creators. A lot of good stuff. There's another gentleman, Rob the Maritimer, who is also helping me. But they have a lot of good tools and resources. So I was able to download this subscribe button from Kevin Colby, and it's great. And so take a moment to like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. All right. Until we meet again next week, you all have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Bye.